Hello, how are you? I hope you can hear me. My name is Aydın Özçekiç. I'm the founder of Baltimore Technology. Uh, my main focus area is construction technology, and we are trying to develop some solutions for contractors, project managers, and engineers. So today, I want to talk about be it research and development in the construction sector. It's a bit tricky title because when we talk about research and development, generally people don't think construction sector because they think that construction sector is a more mature sector and there is no anything we can do in the construction sector. But of course, this is wrong. There are a lot of things we can do, especially in the technology side, data collection, and other parts. So today I will make a small presentation and I want to talk about how research and development is going on in the construction sector, what can we do, and how we can find money for the research and development projects. Of course, it will be short, but if you have questions, you can reach me, and we can, of course, talk details whenever you want. You can find my contact information at the end of the presentation, and of course, you can find me in social media. Yes, now we can start. Now, first, I want to share the presentation with you. Yes, yes, today we will talk about research and development in the construction sector. Uh, if you are in the construction sector, you know that construction sector is a low productivity. It doesn't change. If you look real gross value added per hour worked by person engaged in 2005, is so low to the other sectors to the if you compare with the total economy of the manufacturing sector is so low about the productivity, and this is very important about the economy, of course. If you will look globally, it's important for the economy and for the government spending. On the other hand, it's important for the companies, for the individuals, because we are unproductive and this directly affect our lives. If you look personally in unproductive working environment, generally we are living same kind of problems. We couldn't spare time for our lives because everything is very we are struggling for in every process in the construction sector, from the design to the facility management, from the construction operations to the cost control. We are living the same kind problems which are not logical. We don't need to live that kind of problems, but we are living. So this comparison shows that there's a huge difference between manufacturing and construction sector. And one of the main causes of this, we don't make as a sector, we don't make any investment to research and development. If you look, this is the we just make 1% of our uh, revenue. We are using just 1% of our revenue for the research and development activities. And as you see, gross industry averages 3.3%, which is three times more higher than construction sector. But if you look other sectors, for example, healthcare providers, education, utilities, transportation, consumer products, we always see that at least two times more investment they are doing. Why this is very important? Because if you make this kind of low investment to research and development, you can, yeah, already we have a gap between the other sectors, uh, according to technology usage, research and development activities. So we couldn't catch other sectors, and on the other side, the gap is increasing. So this is very critical because other sectors are using different tools, different technologies, but we are just watching them and we are saying that we are a traditional sector, we don't need to use this, or we try to find some excuses about it. But mainly, there's a very easy answer of this question. We don't spend money for research and development, so we couldn't catch the other guys. It is not possible. So what can we do? And what can we in research and development in construction? This was this was a bad news, but there is a good news too. Good news, in recent years, there is an increase in research and development spending in construction sector. Yes, it is low, but there is a tendency to increase it. This is a good news because it's important for us. For example, according to Office for National Statistics in UK, construction business investment on innovation increased approximately 2 times. And on the other hand, COVID is affect construction sector. First, generally, is a bad way, but for the context, construction technology development, it affected a good way because people start to understand that for the coordination, for the data collection, for the project management, they can use tools more efficiently, and they start to make investment to that kind of tools. So this increase, of course, needs of the technology, and it increase our research and development investment. This is a bit good news, of course, for the sector too. And other important thing is climate change. People are talking about decarbonization. People are talking about energy consumption control. That kind of thing is so important. And everything started from the construction sector. We are building everything, buildings, infrastructure, and everything is related to climate change. So when people are talking more about climate change and effects of it, it directly uh, create an impact on the construction sector. And first, it changed owners, investors, and then it changed all the contractors, project managers, and all other engineers, designers. So it creates a different ecosystem impact, and it is very important. So this climate change effect directly increase, of course, research and development opportunities on the sector, and on the other hand, it create another important thing. There's some grants for the decarbonization or carbon zero target or energy zero targets. There are some plans of the governments, so they put some grants for it. Some they put money on the table. So there's a good incentive for the construction technology companies, for the contractors to implement new technologies and to find a good solutions. This is another thing which is important for the construction sector. Um, and generally, when we look at the construction sector, we saw that uh, this is a multidisciplinary activity for in the construction sector. Generally, we are talking about when we call research and development in construction sector, we are talking different things. For example, we are using different computer science disciplines in our projects, like AI, machine learning, or different algorithms we are using to solve the problems. But at the same time, we need some construction management knowledge, which can come from contractors or project managers. These are so important, and we need some design process information, and it generally comes from architects and engineers. So we should work together to create a good research and development project. It's not possible just a software developer sitting at a table and try to create a research and development project for the construction. And at the same time, it's not possible for an engineer or architect just solve every problems by himself. So we should find a way to do that, and we should find ways to work together. Of course, the other sectors are doing this, so we are just following the same journey to find solutions for our sector. If you look global funding trends in construction sector, first of all, the funding is increasing in the construction sector. Which kind of funding I'm talking about now? This funding is private funding. It's coming from the ventures investors. Generally, when you go to private investors, they think that construction sector is so huge, so they understand that there's a huge total accessible market, and it is a good sign for an investor. But they unfortunately they don't know the sector so much. So the sector is a bit conservative, and it's not easy to implement new technologies. Just developing something. Okay, you have to find a right place, and you have to position your product very, very delicately. So I think this is very important for the sector. But when we looked at, there's a huge investment, and this is very increasing year by year. There's a content investment reached to $4.1 billion. This is a huge number. When we look to the distribution of this investment, there's different technologies here, as you see. Uh, this is some marketplaces. This is important because uh, supply chain in the construction sector is not so uh, manageable. It's not easy to manage. So people are try to find better ways to do that. It is both about the transpiration, transformation of the sector, and solve the problems on the sector is related to generally with the supply chain. And other thing is, of course, there's a big thing is the project management. There are a lot of investment there because it is the main part. With software companies uh, can make an entrance to the sector is a project management, because project management tools already using in different sectors, and you have directly can go to and customize it for the construction sector. And it's very huge market, because in each project people are with different tools, and you can make some, of course, innovative solutions there for the project management point. I think you know the beam, and of course, when you use beam, is of course a source of a data for the construction sector, and you can create a different things. It's from the design to the construction, from to the operation. You can use beam in different parts. Now there's different concepts like digital twin, beam 3D, 4D, 5D, but whatever. Beam is a good database, and of course. Uh, Companies like to play on this data and create new tools which can create a competitive advantage for the companies. Other technologies, AR, VR is so popular, and of course, it is related to construction. Is a design, and understanding of design is very related to AR and VR technologies. And smart equipment, because we are on the construction site, we are making huge implementation of different activities, different tasks. So smart equipments can solve different problems on the sector. And then the connectivity, I can say that coordination is another important problem, because people have to share the same information, and it is very critical for the success and the productivity of the sector. This is very good uh, picture of the sector, because there are a lot of investment there. It's cool, but you see that uh, these solutions are generally related, of course, about the productivity, but mainly they are a bit discrete. For example, marketplace is, as for example, equipment solutions for equipment sharing or equipment renting projects are good projects, for example, but they are not so linked to, for example, BIM projects or the project management very directly. So one of the main problems of the sector, there is different data silos, different solution silos in the projects, and this is very critical for the success of the sector. Because of that, everybody start to talk about the platforms, and for example, UK government supporting platform projects in the construction sector. What I mean from platform, there's a we should create a platform. This platform should be integrated to other systems. Of course, should add value to these systems and create a single source of truth for the project parties or all the people players on the project. So it is a good strategy, but of course it's another problem, because to create that kind of platform and promote it, and to create to get acceptance of all sector is not easy thing. So people are working on this. So, and it is not easy to make just one company. Different companies should come together and solve that kind of problems. From my point of view, we can talk about the technologies and fields in the research and developments, of course. And on the technology side, I generally look a bit differently, because we are trying to solve the problems, real problems of the construction companies or construction site teams or designers. So if we want to do this, should focus on some technologies. One is the data collection. We need to collect data, and this is of course very critical. From my point of view, for example, Beam. is a good way of data collection from the designer. So I looked, normally people say it differently, but I did something like that. We have to need to collect data. Of course, after collection of the data, we should create insights from the data. And of course, then we have the data and we have the insights. We can create some decision support systems using AI and machine learning solutions. And the robotics top of it is create, of course, huge productivity because there will be a labor shortage in the construction sector in near future. Everybody is expecting that because of different reasons. You can search it in Google, but at the end, we are waiting for labor shortage. So robotics is so important. So productivity is so important because we couldn't find skilled labor, and then the quality will decrease. So we have to find that kind of solutions to increase the productivity and, of course, at least preserve our quality. Uh, because of that, robotics is another important thing, and it can start from small robotic solutions to very advanced robotic solutions. But at the end, and 3D printers are in the same point. I talk about the printers, 3D printers, not just concrete printers, for example. They are now using, but of course they need some improvement. But there are good technologies here. And of course, some new technologies will come, but generally they will all related to these ideas, these technologies. For example, for the data collection, we can use different technologies, for example, IoT we can use, sensors we can use on the site, different kinds of sensors on the construction site to collect the data, and this can be used. So I looked at this technology site like that with this classification, and the fields are other important things. Now, as I said, sustainability is so important in the construction sector. Uh, Carbon zero, energy efficiency are increased. Uh, there's interest in the community, in the construction community, because of different reasons. Because first thing is the government is put some incentives. Second is everybody is talking about the climate change, and this will be very important in the future. And people are start try to find a way to make some improvement in their sustainability issues. So because of that, carbon zero and energy efficiency is important topics and hot topics in the construction sector. And of course, it's about research and development. If you are making a research and development touching these areas, carbon zero, energy efficiency, you can find a different alternative funding ways for your project. But of course, this is just an incentive. If you have another project, you can go there. But if you have a project, my suggestion, if you have some effect in the carbon zero and energy efficiency, think about it. Try to develop that part of your project because it will be very important for the future. And of course, productivity is so critical. And is for a long time, people are talking about productivity in the construction sector. So, in my opinion, people are going to work there, but there are big problems because, as I said, there's integration problems. People are using different tools, and construction sector is a temporary production area. So, some companies or people are coming together as temporary, and because of that, it creates an inefficiency. And to solve that, you have to create an agile and very lean tools to solve these problems. And safety is always important because the construction sector is very has a big problems in safety area. And quality control, you can use different technologies in the quality control to increase its efficiency, like uh, uh, powered cameras to take the picture or video of the site and understand the make the quality check of the site using this kind of tools. Image recognition technologies are very often used in the construction sector at the moment. So these kind of technologies are increasing. And supply chain is very important because uh, if you talk about the carbon zero, energy efficiency, or productivity, that kind of things, everything is coming a point. You have to create a supply chain for the production, and in the construction sector, supply chain is very missing point for the sector because unfortunately we couldn't manage the supply chain effectively, and we don't know which product is where, what is the there a quality problems, how can we solve these quality problems. And there are always people are struggling about supply problems on the sector, and of course pricing are changing so fast, and from different reasons, from the Brexit, because of COVID and blah blah, prices are changing, and so it is affecting all budget and other things. So it is very important to control cost, and if you want to control your cost, you have to control your supply chain. So this is very critical thing, and the design is very important. Of course, people are, especially in the architects, are using different tools. Maybe they are more tech savvy people on the sector because they are using the design tools already. They are using 3D tools. They are using BIM tools. They are very open new technologies. Yeah, they work on the visualization, AR, VR. They are using all these technologies. So architects are perfect entry point for the sector for the new technologies. But unfortunately, they can't carry this technology to the production and maybe after the operation, because there are different people are working there and there are different styles, different solutions. So I think this is very critical for the success. The other thing is the production. Uh, and of course, it is related about the productivity, but not even from the production really making something. For example, uh, for install a pipe water pipes to a building. This is a production. A team should make it with this installment with a plan. So we can use different technologies to make this installment better. So in my opinion, these fields and these technologies are, of course, are so critical. They will change day by day. But for the classification, I think they and their relation is so important to understand what is our project or idea is located, where is it located, and how we can solve this problem, how we can create a research and development project top of it. So I think this is very important to understand this our project and relation with these technologies and fields. And become a point, of course, cooperation. We need the cooperation for research and development. It is not a one-man show. You cannot just make a research and development with your company or sources. You have to work together. I want to start with universities or research and development centers. Or in the construction sector, there's number of that kind of centers or universities working on different research and development activities are increasing, and I like it because it's very important. But there is a bottleneck there. This is not this is a, as I said, multidisciplinary thing. Uh, when we look, for example, in the construction or civil engineering or construction management type of research and development teams in the universities, they are generally coming from the civil engineering or construction management disciplines, and they of course know some technologies where they try to create, of course, some solutions for the construction sectors. This is cool, and of course it's good. But we need different disciplines here. We need data science guys. We need some computer engineers, computer science guys. We need industry engineers, engineers, and different disciplines to come together to work together to create a good research and development base for us. Uh, this can be differently. Of course, these teams should be multidisciplinary. On the other hand, I think we have some mistakes in our PhD education, or uh, in the maybe in the master education, especially in the construction sector. People just focusing on the solutions or uh, solutions for the construction problems, not just they learn more about the technology. I think they have to learn technology, AI, machine learning, data, and they add the construction knowledge top of it, and they create a good, better ideas with it. I think universities is very important because they are one of the starting point of research and development projects. Uh, of course, research and development projects start from the problem, and problems are coming from the construction companies, architects, and project management companies. But at the end, uh, startups and universities to catch this problem and try to find a solution to this problem. And startups find the practical solutions, and universities find more theoretical solutions. So research and development is important in here because we should combine all of them. Problem is so critical. So if a construction company can define its problem. Of course, it should be more than the definition. It can have create a workflow for his its problem. Then the university can support it with theoretical works in the background, both from the computer science and both civil engineering or construction management side or architect side. So then we can combine all of them, and startups can make some practical solutions top of this research and development activity, which will be outcome of the project. I think this is the best flow we can use for that kind of research and development activities. And of course, if you can do this, the outcomes will be practical solutions for the startups, and startups can create a growth strategy from this output. And of course, universities make profit with this cooperation, and everybody can be happy because construction company uses the technology uh, with some advantages. So I think this is a good story. And of course, there's big startups in the other hand. What I mean from the big startups or big companies, for example, Google, for example, Autodesk. These are big companies, and of course, there are huge research and development budgets, and they're so important for of course for the sector because they create an incentive for the sector to make a better projects. In that point, just from this company's perspective, I think they have to support the community. This is very important because small startups or newcomers, not just competitors of the big ones. This is not the story. If you can create a good ecosystem, big players can support the smaller ones because small solutions or niche solutions can create a more area for the big players. So it can expand the market. So because of that, I'm talking about this cooperation and of ecosystem, and big startups put their power to this system and support startup universities and of course construction companies, architects, and project management companies. But they don't just look to customers; they look to all the ecosystem. Maybe they can be their future competitor, but it is important because if you have a good competitors is coming from the zero, it will add value to the sector, and it will make increase for the big players revenue too. So this is very critical thing. And the other thing is the investors. Of course, there's different investors here. We can talk, but can talk two type of investors. One is private investors, ventures, angel investors, and the other is of course a government. Government is one of the big investor because it's creating incentives, creating some grants, and these two types of investors have different, of course, targets, goals. Because venture investors looking generally for the profit or the exit strategy of your company, and it's very important for them. And the second thing is, of course, government is looking for long-term impact on the society of your project. This is the two different approach. Um, I think if you are creating a research and development project, you should be very careful about it because research and development is a bit theoretical thing, as I said, but it should have some practical outputs. If you go to take government grants, it starts to be so theoretical because if you want to fulfill requirements of just government grant, you can go so theoretical research and development area easily because there are checkpoints of the government grants are generally not so practical things, practical outputs. They are generally check how you are doing your research and development activities, and it's generally about, of course, more theoretical things, articles or some trials, pilots, yes, and demos. These are important, but these are not our outputs. These are not products. So, of course, we should find the balance between them, and we should create a projects to balance two sides of the project. Just I want to talk about a bit research and development methodology. It's not just related for the construction sector as a general thing, but it's important to talk to people on the same page. Generally, a research and development project start from the idea and it goes to full commercial application. This is TRL, technology readiness level. People are using it, especially European Union accept this concept, but it's developed from by the NASA. Uh, it's a very long history, but European Union using is this system. I think it is very useful because you are starting with idea in the research and development, and then you make a basic research. At least normally you try to understand what is going on, and then you make a technology formulation, that application, and you have to formulate it. And after this formulation, this very theoretical thing, you need some validation, okay? And then you finish your idea stage and you go to prototype stage. First, you will do small scale prototype. Of course, this will change according, if you, it can be software, it can be robotic, it can be hardware. No, not difference. You need a small scale prototype and people have to use it and give feedback to you. After take you these feedbacks, you will make a large scale prototype, which more people will use it, and it will be operational environment. For example, if you make a robotic arm for the construction site, I took a large scale prototype. You will use it in the construction site, really, not just a test in a preserved area. Okay. So then we in the TRL 6 we will reach a prototype system is tested in the intended environment. Then we will carry this to TRL 7, which is demonstration system operating in operational environment. This is a pre-commercial scale. Then you will reach the TRL 8, which is the first of a kind of commercial system, all technical processes and systems to support commercial activity in a ready state. And TRL 9 is full commercial application. Now, this is not, of course, so strict like that because, for example, you can come to TRL 7 and then you think that add new features or a new module to your platform or your solution, and you can go to again maybe technology formulation for that part of the project. So it's a bit flexible, but at the end, to understand this framework, it makes easy to our life because when we say that our where are you? You can say I am in TRL 6. You understood that you have a prototype and it is tested. I think this is very important to talk in the same language because it is very easy to talk about that. Some people, some just idea, but they of course make a good plan about the idea, but they don't have any prototype or that kind of things, or they don't take any feedback from the customer, and they talk very good about their project, but you don't understand level of it, then you can't give a good feedback to them, and of course investors can't make an investment to them of you. They apply wrong grant applications. Yes, at the end we have to come a point. We need money to make a research and development project. There's two way of it. You have to need investors or grants. Maybe we can add a third way of it, which is the customers. Customers maybe play an investor role in that point. What I mean from the customer, uh, for example, you are developing a productivity tool for construction companies, okay, and you have to reach the contractors. If a contractors has a budget to make support that kind of research and development project, it can be part of the project with their investment, their money. And of course, they can put some expertise and they can put some, of course, pilot project areas. That is very important. And they can be important player in this project team. Other investors, of course, venture investors or angel investors. Venture are bigger ones, and angel investors more generally more smart money kind of investors. They put money, and they are generally individuals, and they put money, and they of course put some effort to your project in the early stage. And the venture capital are bigger ones. Of course, you have to show something tangible to them, not just the ideas or just not a prototype. And then they put money for more commercialization of your project, and they want, of course, earn a lot of money afterwards from it. And the other thing is grants. Grants is an interesting area because they don't expect money from you. Okay, they just give money to you. Governments give money to you, and you are spending it to make your research and development activities. Especially for early stages of your activities or in different stages, it's very important because maybe you can't verify your idea in a stage, and For an investor, it is not a good investment. They don't like this. But for the grant, it's acceptable. You can say that, yeah, we make our, for example, feasibility or whatever with our project, and we conclude our research and development project. It's not working. Okay, this is a good result for academic side or theoretical side. You can create an article, for example, explain why this not work, this is not working, and you can describe it. You can create an article, and people are use it in the further research and development activities. And research and development activities going like that, not just by the success. Unsuccessful results are very, very critical. So, but we should again find a balance of it. So the grants are very important for us, but of course we have to should think about, of course, this TRL levels, and our main target should reach the TRL 9, and we should try to find way of it as a research and development company or research and development team. So I think is an important thing for us. Yes. Now I don't know, of course, you are from a contractor, or you are an individual, or you are an architect, whatever, or you're a student. If you have an idea, and of course, if you want to make research and development projects, you have to find money for you. Different ways to find these monies. One is European Union grants. I'm living in London, so I can say that yes, UK made a Brexit, but UK companies can apply European Union grants as an associate country. Of course, there are some details. If you want to learn, you can talk later, but UK companies can apply. Just is enough at the moment. So for the European Union grants, there's different grant things. There are a lot of grants. If you want to learn more, just go European Union grant platform portal. You can Google it. You can find it, I think, and you can register there. You can make search about the grants. You can read the documents. There's a good platform of the European Union about the grant applications, so you can check it. But I want to talk about two main things. But the Horizon projects, generally, you have to create a consortium to make that kind of projects. But generally there is some uh, main titles of the grants. Okay, for example, just I give an example. For example, construction management is a title of the grant, and when they open that kind of grant, they put a deadline and they define the rules of this grant, application rules. And generally, they're expecting a consortium for the project. What I mean from the consortium, different companies or universities or research and development centers come together from different countries, of course, and they will create a research and development project. Of course, it's different layers. Sometimes they say that you have to be in TRL 6. Sometimes it can be more uh, early layer. So it is important because of technology readiness level is important, uh, and I explained it because of that. So try to understand which projects are okay for you. Of course, you have try to find some, of course, partners. It's not easy because normally you have an idea and you try to find a partner, and you don't know the partner, and you have a limited time. You have to develop a project. It's not easy process generally. But if you make a good strategic movement there, you can find good partners, you can create a project, and you can apply. In Horizon projects work like that. Other thing is AIC Accelerator is a relatively new grant. AIC Accelerator program is you can apply as a single company. Okay, you can be a startup and you should be an SME, and you can apply to this project with a TRL 6 project at least. What I mean, you have operational prototype on the side of your product or a solution, and then you can apply this grant, but it's very competitive. You can say that 4 or 5% of the applicants can win this kind of grant, but it's a good journey. There's two stage. First stage is easier. There's short application. They give feedback to you, and there's a second stage. If you have questions, you can ask me later, or you can Google it. AIC Accelerator. There are a lot of information there. And the application process is not very tough. And there are local European grants. Of course, uh, there are plenty of grants for the SMEs or the companies generally, but you have to search them. I couldn't give just a definition to them, but there are, and some of them count for the construction sector. For the generally for contact company, if you look, of course, AIC accelerator programs can match because there is no any subject limitation in the AIC accelerator. Just you have a product, it should be innovative, and you have to be in TRL 6. Of course, the starting point, there's other things, but generally, if you are, you should, requirements are these. Other thing is, of course, horizon projects. You should follow the horizon projects. Sometimes, especially now, green building is so important. So sustainability is so important in the construction, in the building side. So there are some subjects are coming, grants are coming about green building, energy consumption, and of course sustainability issues. So you have to search periodically, and you can catch that kind of projects, and then you should find some partners, and you can apply that kind of horizon projects. And in the horizon projects, your chance is higher, but of course, it's not easy to maintain that kind of projects because it takes time. And if you are in the UK, like me, there is some grants from the UK government. Basically, Innovate UK smart grants you can apply. There's not. It looks like AIC accelerator. There's no any subject limitation. You can apply your construction contact idea, not idea. Again, you have to have a prototype again, like TRL 6 you should be, but it's a good way to application. You can read the documents from the Innovate UK website. And again, in the Innovate UK, there are different grants. Sometimes there can be some grants about directly about the construction technologies. So uh, you should follow this page and chase the grants. It's not easy to find otherwise. And research and development tax reliefs are so technical thing. I don't want to enter this, but of course you can talk your accountant about it. And contact investors. Now, if you are a construction technology company, of course, you can find money from all investors, all ventures, angel investors. There's a limitation because a lot of ventures can make investment to different disciplines, different sectors, so they don't focus on just one sector. But I just might mention three of venture capital which just focus on the construction sector. I think this is very interesting because if you make a presentation and people don't know anything about the construction sector, there's two options. One is people can make a high expectation because they think that there's a huge construction sector and they don't use the technologies effectively, and we are put a new product and it will solve their product with high tech and it will explode. It will create a high revenue and we will be we will make a revenue very fast. We will be very successful. They can reach this conclusion very easily. Some for some investors, this is not a good thing because make if you can't manage the expectation of the investors, high or low, it start to be a problem in the long run. Uh, so in the other option, first is think that. The second is people don't understand from the construction. So you talk about some technologies and they are so basic. For example, if it's somebody coming from the telecommunication sector as an investor, and when you talk about a construction technology solution, and he thinks that, oh, this is so archaic. Then why are you doing this in 2020? It's not possible. It's a so simple thing. My team can do it. It's a simple sentences they can say. They are right about this in a bit because in the construction sector, new technologies are not used very effectively. So our products, Comtech companies' products are a bit coming in, not so new solutions, but they can work on the construction side. If you go more advanced technologies, people don't understand it. It's not easy to penetrate the market. Because of that, we are using maybe easier projects, easier technologies, or more simple technologies. in the construction sector to solve the problems. So if you talk a venture, just focus on the construction sector, you can get rid of a lot of risk and can make your presentation easier. So just three of them. I don't know all of them, of course. You can search again, but it can be a starting point for you. Brick and mortar ventures are just focusing on construction sector. Maybe you know that if they are coming from the Bechtel Corporation. Bechtel is a big construction company, and is a good example of how construction companies can act in this and can play an investor role in the contact area. So brick and mortar is a good example. I think construction companies should make that kind of investment to the startups. It can create value for both the company, big company contractor, and both this for the startup. So the other contact investor is Cemex Ventures. Maybe you heard about it. I think they should be from Spain. I think that. And the third one is I know is a fundamental ventures, which they should be stays at Germany, something like that. You can Google it. I don't memorize them, but there can be good starting point. They are ventures and good starting point, of course, for the contact investors. Yes, just I want to come a point and I want to explain for the Baltimore Technology. We are a startup and we are working on different grants and different venture investors, whatever. It's our work. But on the other hand, we saw that there is a need for a consulting need of construction technology companies or contractors or different ventures to focus on the construction sector. They need some help. So we have this knowledge as a company. So we are developing a new company or sister company to the Baltimore Technology, Baltimore Consulting Group. We will help research and development grant application of contact projects, especially for the startups. We will work on investor pitch deck and business plan of contact companies, and we will try to create a community of sharing and the cooperation to create a more sustainable construction technology ecosystem. Of course, it's totally different from the Baltimore technology. Just there's a Baltimore name is same. This will be different activity, which we will help the companies to create a better future for the construction tech area. Personally, it's very important for me as a CEO of this company, as a CEO of the Baltimore Technology. It's very important for me. I'm coming from the construction sector. I work on the different contractors, and then I work on different contact area for different as a consultant, and then as a startup founder. I always solve different problems and people living the same thing again and again. And there are a lot of opportunities out there, and we know that more company when make the better things, more contractor start to use research and development funds to create a new things. I think everything can change so fast. So please make comment. It's very valuable for me. Uh, if you want to make some, uh, if you want to put your ideas, or if you want to support startups, or if you want to make a research and development plan for your company, as a for example, as a construction company, we can talk because I think this is very, very important for the future of the sector, or future of the companies. And the other thing is the future of the individuals, because we should understand that the sector is changing, disciplines are changing, as I said. For example, if you are academic in the university, you should focus on different disciplines, not just for the construction management, and you have to create a new skill set for you to develop new type research and development in the construction sector. On the other hand, if you, for example, if you can be an employee in a construction company, or if you can be an architect, we have to change our vision. We can find different ways to fund our small projects, maybe to create small innovations which will be important for you or your small ecosystem. I think these are very important. Research and development is not just uh, the thing big companies can do. Smaller companies can do it. Just individuals can make a small research and development activities. I think it is very important for the sector to understand what is going on. It can be successful or unsuccessful. If we spend time for research and development, we will understood value of the technology and innovation for the construction sector's future. Thank you very much for your time. And if you have questions, please reach me. And you can send info@baltimore.co.uk an email. We can turn to you uh, very fast. Or you can follow me or Baltimore Technology in LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, whatever you like. Thank you for your time. And I hope we can talk talk to you soon. Bye bye. Have a nice day.